What's up, guys? Luke the Hulk here, and this is Cooking with Hulk. So I just transitioned out of my contest prep into my off season, and I am starting to pack in more food. So I thought I would show you guys one of my favorite off season meals. So it's steak chili, and as you know, the Hulk loves some steak. So this is about 3.5 pounds of steak we're going to use for this recipe. We're going to use these black beans. We're going to need 2 cans of that. We're going to use these fire roasted diced tomatoes, 2 cans of that. Can of these diced green chilies. About half a bag of this white corn, a large onion, and the seasoning. So I always start by cleaning up my steak and chopping it into little 1/4-inch cubes. So that's where we're going to start. Little 1-inch cubes, actually. So I found if you leave too much fat on, when you put this in the fridge, you're going to get a thick layer of oil on the top. So, I mean, if you're trying to pack in more calories, you definitely want that. If not, then you might want to trim it. So you can kind of just take it off the top too if you want to keep the fat in there, but I just like to chop it out a little bit. So then make the cubes pretty big that you're going to cut. So this is about a 2.5-inch piece. So I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces. So when it cooks down in the slow cooker, these are going to get quite a bit smaller. So we're just going to quickly chop up this steak. So I bought this steak at Costco, and this was actually one of the New York steaks that I did. Usually I wouldn't use a steak this nice to make chili, but I didn't have any other. So this other steak that I have is just a roast. It was pretty cheap, $3 a pound. So you don't really need to get, you definitely don't want to use a nice cut of meat on this because it's just going to turn super soft when you slow cook it anyways. So, and then you just take these cubed up steaks, throw them in your slow cooker. Come on, fingers. Let's try that again. This is where we're going to get the beef of our beef. So this one, as you guys can see, it's got quite a bit more fat on it. So we are going to, well, I think I'm going to leave some of this fat on. Some of it I'm going to take off because I like fat. It's very high calorie. And if we're trying to add calories in the off season, we want to keep it on there. So you can do this recipe with, cheaper meats. You can use ground beef. If you do use ground beef or ground bison, you're going to want to brown it in a pan before you throw it in the slow cooker. It'll kind of give it a little bit better texture. I don't like doing that with the steak for some reason. So let's show you guys what the steak looks like. So there's all the steak in the slow cooker. Now we're gonna chop up the onion next. And then just open all the cans of the vegetables and legumes. Actually, fruit's not tomatoes aren't a vegetable, they're a fruit. Another thing you want to leave kind of larger is your pieces of onion. So we'll probably do, it's kind of slick. Safety third. I went a little small with these, but doesn't really matter. It's kind of just in there for the flavor. So that one. Just gonna crumble in there. Next thing up, I'm gonna add the fire roasted tomatoes. You got these handy dandy pull tops. So the fire roasted tomatoes you want to throw in there with the juice that they're in. The black beans, or whatever beans you want to use, you're going to want to drain before you put them in. I don't know why, it's just the way I do it. So next, we're going to throw in the chili seasoning. So I used to do all the seasonings on their own, and then I use this one, and I'm never going back. So much easier. And I really just like corn. I don't know why, it's not that nutritious. And I don't really have a set amount I use. Kind of just throw a bunch in there. Last but not least, the diced green chilies. Oh, the thing you really don't want to forget is the salt and pepper. So you don't want to go too heavy on the salt, but you do have to remember you're salting for 3.5 pounds of steak. So we'll go a dozen on that one. The pepper, I don't know, 25, 35 twists. 45, who knows, get wild, 55, 56, 60, just go wild. And that's about it. You want to give it a good stir. Then I give it a good stir. And then once you've kind of stirred all those ingredients together for a minute, you're going to plug it in, put the lid on. So for cook time, I like to do this one overnight. And you do it on low for maybe 7 or 8 hours. Or you can do it on high for probably 5 or 6 hours. So it's going to cook the same either way. It doesn't really matter if you want to do the slow or long cook. And that's about it. So, oh yeah, one more thing, kind of to increase my calories even a little bit higher. When I do serve this, I'll make some rice, serve it on rice. So I'll show you guys the finished product after, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. So this is what it looks like in the morning. Give it a little stir with my spoon. Yum, yum. Turn it off.